We are here for the first lecture. Okay, this is the first lecture for the botany optional subject. In this first lecture, we are going to study the first chapter. Okay, the first chapter of your UPSC mains examination, and in that you have to study the structure and reproduction in the viruses. Okay. Then let's start this first lecture on the structure and reproduction in the viruses. Okay. So as I'm talking about the first chapter, it is the microbiology and the plant pathology for the UPSC mains. Okay, in that you have to study the structure and reproduction or multiplication of the viruses. This is the first topic of your UPSC mains examination. In that, the structure of the viruses plus the reproduction or multiplication of the viruses you have to study. After that, same thing we have to do for the viroids, bacteria, fungi, and mycoplasma. Now, understand why this virus topic is important. Now, ICS 2019 papers question is here. It's Indian Civil Service 2019 mains. In that, the first question has five sub questions. You can see here A, B, C, D, and E. And in that, observe the B question. It's a replication of the plant viruses. They have asked the replication of the plant viruses for 10 marks. So, for simply writing down how the plant viruses replicate, you will get the 10 marks. And consider this next question, that is the IFS, that is Indian Forest Service mains examination of 2019. In that, they have asked the question, define the term contagium vivum fluidum. Well, now it's relating with the viruses, and that is why this comes under this first topic, contagium vivum fluidum term. And who coined this term? They have just asked the name of the scientist, that who has coined this term, contagium vivum fluidum. And then they have asked you to differentiate between the TMV virus and the T4 phage, that is tobacco mosaic virus, and T4 phage. You have to differentiate in terms of the morphology and the nuclear content. So you can understand that the various types of the questions can be asked on the viruses, and that is why this topic is quite important. Now, please observe how they split the question. Now, just by defining the term contagium vivum fluidum, you will get the 3 marks. Then, for writing down just the scientist name, you will get the 2 marks. Then, if you compare the TMV with the T4, in terms of morphology, you will get the 5 marks, and in terms of the nuclear content, again you will get the 5 marks. Total 15 marks. Okay, so this is how the virus questions asked in the UPSC mains examination, and that is why this topic is of particular importance, and that is why you have to study it in a detail. Okay, now let us consider the first point. Okay, now as you see the text on the screen, we have intentionally put this text on the screen so that you can write it down. Okay, this text is coming from the various book sources, so that there will be the complete notes for the UPSC mains examination. Okay, now see, in the 5 kingdom system of classification, the Whitaker, there is no mention of the some acellular organism like viruses. See, now Whitaker, he is famous for giving the 5 kingdom system of classification. Okay, now 5 kingdom system of classification is important because first time he classified the all living organisms into the 5 categories. So Whitaker, while classifying the living organism into the 5 different categories, he does not mention of the viruses. Why? Because they are acellular organisms, and according to him, they are dead. Now, organisms, now the viruses, which are at the boundary of the cellular and the acellular, is considered dead by the Whitaker, and that is why he does not give any place for the viruses in his classification system. Because viruses, as you know, it has a genetic material, either DNA or RNA. Okay, DNA or RNA is there plus the protein. Now, protein code plus DNA or RNA, we cannot consider this thing as a living thing, because to be living, what is necessary? There should be a cell. If there is a cell, then and only then we consider that this thing is a living thing. Now, why we are considering the cell as a living thing? Because cell can perform the metabolic activities. All the metabolic activities can be performed by the cells, and due to this metabolic activity, this cell is considered as a living. After that, these cells are able to reproduce, right? So both of these characteristics are lacked by the viruses, and that is why we are considering them as acellular, because they lack the cells. Now, if they don't have a cells and they are non-living, then how come they become living when entered into the human body or any living organism? Now, if this is the well-known fact that the viruses require some kind of a host. They require some kind of host, either it's a human, animal, or plant, to get alive. Okay. Once they are inside the cell of the host, they start preparing their own protein. Okay, so we can say that the viruses which are present in the host, they can they can create their own proteins, and they can express their own DNA. So after getting into the host, they can be cellular, but before getting into the host, they are acellular. And due to this confusion, the Whitaker does not give any place for the viruses into its five kingdom system of classification. Right? Now see, now viruses did not find any place in a classification since they are not truly living. Okay, just we are discussing why the viruses does not get any place in the Whitaker system of classification, because they are not truly living. Now, to be truly living, we have just said that there should be the cell. There should be the cell to be called as truly living, but the viruses are not truly living. If if we understand the living as those organisms that have the cell structure, okay, those organisms that has a cell structure, only these organisms are living organisms, and those who lack the cell structure are not the living organism. So viruses does not have any type of cell structure. That is why we are calling them, they are not truly living. So they are not truly living. That is why the Whitaker does not take them into this five kingdom system of classification. So outside the body of any living organism, viruses are not truly living, almost they are dead. Okay, but once inside the host, they can create their own protein. So we can say that once inside the host, they become alive. Okay, now see, the viruses are non-cellular organisms, okay, that are characterized by having the inert crystalline structures outside the living cell. Right, outside the living cells, they are quite inert. Inert, this word is used, that means does not change. Okay, that means they has the certain kind of genetic material, either DNA or RNA, and they has a protein coat, and they remain inert. They does not change their structure. They are in an inert form outside the living cell. You can observe this tobacco mosaic virus, that is TMV virus, in the first slide, and bacteriophage in the second slide. Both are the viruses. Okay, this tobacco mosaic virus, you can see here, this is an RNA portion, that is, it's a genetic material, and later here we find the capsid. Okay, it's a protein portion. So only the genetic material plus the protein. Okay, now you can observe the bacteriophage as well. Here you find the proteins plus the DNA as well. Okay, so bacteriophage and tobacco mosaic virus both are just the genetic material plus protein, and they are, if they are outside the living cell, they are quite inert. Now once they infect the cell, they take over the machinery of the host cell to replicate themselves and killing the host. If they enter into the host cell, they start replicating, that they start to increase their numbers constantly, and in a process they kill the host, just like happen in a coronavirus these days. Right, coronavirus, AIDS virus, all these viruses are the deadly viruses, and these viruses can create the lots of copies of themselves once they are enter into the human cell. Now, once they inside the host cell, they start replicating. That means they acquire the living characteristics, because replicating is the living characteristic. Now, once inside the host cell, they start replicating and they start increasing their number. And once they increase their number, they are often able to kill their host in the process. Okay. Now, see, the name viruses means venom. Okay, this virus word is literally means the venom or the poisonous fluid. This name was given by the Pasteur. Okay, the DJ Ivanovsky, okay, remember the name, DJ Ivanovsky, in 1892 recognized that certain microbes are the causal organism for the mosaic disease of the tobacco, that is tobacco mosaic disease. Okay, now how virus got discovered, this is all about the history of the viruses. Now the virus, this word literally means the venom or poison. Okay, now this name was given by the Pasteur. Okay, you should write it down. The viruses, this term was defined by the Pasteur, and after that DJ Ivanovsky recognized that the certain microbes as the causal organism for the tobacco mosaic disease. That is how tobacco mosaic disease occurs in a tobacco plant. That the Ivanovsky recognized that there's certain kind of microbes are there, very small microbes are there, which are causing this particular type of disease. What we are talking about is between the two scientists, is about the two scientists, that is Pasteur, who has given the word viruses. Okay, and after that the DJ Ivanovsky observed that some kind of microbes is causing the disease, which is called as the tobacco mosaic disease. Now what they observed after that, the whatever the microbes which are infecting the tobacco plant. Okay, a tobacco plant, those organisms which infecting the tobacco plant are the microbes. This was the first observation, and after that they observe these microbes are even smaller than bacteria, right? That they can pass on through the filter, bacteria-proof filters. That they use the filters. Okay, this kind of filters they use, and these are filters. In that filters, when you pour the bacterial culture, the bacteria struck on the surface. But viruses can pass on through this as well. That means viruses are smaller than these bacteria. So what they observe is the viruses are even smaller than the bacteria, because bacteria, as you know, it's a complete living cell. Okay, bacteria are quite larger than the viruses. But on the other hand, what are viruses? This is nothing but the genetic material plus the protein coat is there. Genetic material plus protein only. While the bacteria, on the other hand, they are the complete cell. That is why bacteria are of particular larger size as compared to the viruses. After that, the M.W. Bijeranik. Now, please note down this name. This is a very important name. M.W. Bijeranik in 1898 demonstrated that the extract of the infected plants of the tobacco could cause the infection to the healthy plants, and called the fluid as a contagium vivum fluidum. Okay, you have heard this term in the that question, right? It's called infectious living fluid. Now, who used this term? This term is used by the M.W. Bijeranik. Now, for writing down this name only, you had get the 2 marks in that examination, right? So M.W. Bijeranik actually observed that कि जब उन्होंने एक्सट्रैक्ट किया इन्फेक्टेड प्लांट्स का एक्सट्रैक्ट, उस एक्सट्रैक्ट को जब हेल्दी प्लांट्स से अगर कनेक्ट कर दिया जाए तो हेल्दी प्लांट्स आर आल्सो गेटिंग इन्फेक्टेड, एंड दैट इज व्हाई he called that fluid as a contagium vivum fluidum, infectious living fluid. That is the living fluid. If it come in a contact with the healthy plant, the healthy plant is also got infected with the tobacco mosaic virus. That is why he called it as a contagium vivum fluidum. Okay, so this term was used by the M.W. Bijeranik. All right. Now after that, the M.W. Stanley in 1935 showed that the viruses could be crystallized, and crystals consist largely of proteins. Now see, the major milestone in understanding about the structure of the viruses is came from the studies of M.W. Stanley in 1935. What he does, he crystallized the viruses. Okay, and after crystallizing the viruses, he came to know that the viruses are mainly made up of proteins. The viruses in their chemical composition mainly made up of the proteins. Now they are inert outside their specific host cell. If they are outside the host cell, they are inert. We have seen that, and the viruses are the obligate parasite. That is, they cannot replicate without the host. Obligate parasite literally means they are totally dependent on their host to replicate and create their proteins. Without the host, they are nothing. They are inert. They cannot self-sustain. Without the host, they cannot replicate, and that is why viruses are called as the obligate parasites. Okay. So, and what is the contribution of the M.W. Stanley? That he crystallized the viruses and tell the world that the viruses are mainly made up of the proteins. Okay. Now, today we know that there are proteins and there is a genetic material. Either it's a DNA or RNA. Okay. So, from some previous slides, we are considering the scientist. Okay. Now, if you observe carefully, how many scientists we have discussed? See, first scientist is the Pasteur. Okay. Who called it as a virus. Then DJ Ivanovsky, who told us about the mosaic disease of tobacco and why viruses are smaller than the bacteria. After that, M.W. Bijeranik, who told you that the infectious fluid can spread the infection to the healthy plant, and he called it that fluid as a contagium vivum fluidum. Now, after that, M.W. Stanley, he crystallized the structure and tell the world that the viruses are mainly made up of the proteins. Okay, so all these scientists are of critical importance. As the M.W. Stanley told us that the viruses are mainly made up of the proteins. Now, in addition to the proteins, the viruses also contains the genetic material. Now, see the first thing, virus chemical composition wise अगर बात करें तो viruses किससे बने हैं? The first portion is protein, okay, which is shown by the Stanley. After that, with the proteins, they also contain the genetic material that could be either RNA or DNA. Now, please concentrate on this. It would be the RNA or, say we are saying, or DNA. No virus contains both DNA, RNA and DNA. Okay, so they either contain the RNA as the genetic material or they contain DNA as the genetic material. So if you consider the virus, any virus, for example, tobacco mosaic virus, then there would be the one of the genetic material, either it's a DNA or RNA. In this case, the genetic material is RNA. Okay, RNA is the genetic material plus there is a protein. So whenever you write about the tobacco mosaic virus, you should mention that the genetic material is RNA. Okay, genetic material in case of the tobacco mosaic virus is RNA, and rest portion is the protein which constitute the capsid. Now, a virus is simply a nucleoprotein and the genetic material is infectious. Okay. Why we are calling it a nucleoprotein? Because there is a nucleic acids. Nucleic acids are of two types, right? DNA and RNA. DNA and RNA, there is a nucleic acid, and one of them is present in the viruses. That is why nucleo, and rest portion is the protein, and that is why we call viruses as a nucleoprotein. And this genetic material is quite infectious. Now, in general, the viruses that infect the plants have the single stranded RNA as a genetic material. Very, very important from the UPSC mains examination point of view. Okay. Now, see, observe this point carefully. In general, those viruses which infect the plants and the viruses that infect the animals have either single or double stranded RNA or double stranded DNA. Now, observe carefully. When we talk about the plants, okay, plant viruses, now, plant viruses, they almost 99% they has the single-stranded RNA as a genetic material. But when you talk about the animals, animals can have the single-stranded RNA or double-stranded RNA, or they may have double-stranded DNA. Okay, so here is a clear-cut differentiation between the plant viruses and the animal viruses. The majority of the plant viruses are the single-stranded RNAs, while the majority of the animal viruses may be single-stranded RNA, double-stranded RNA, or double-stranded DNA. Okay, this difference between the plants viruses and the animal viruses you should remember, because this can be asked for the 10 marks, that what is the difference between plant viruses and animal viruses. Okay, so you should be able to write the core points, not the superficial points. Okay, bacterial viruses or the bacteriophages, viruses that infect the bacteria. Okay, now see, the bacterial viruses, they are collectively called as bacteriophages. Okay, whenever you hear the term bacteriophages, you should remember that the bacteriophages are such a viruses which infects the bacteria. Okay, those viruses which infect the bacteria are called as the bacteriophages, are usually the double stranded DNA viruses. Now see, there is a clear cut differentiation in the now see, plant viruses, then we have studied the animal viruses, and then the bacterial viruses. And the genetic material for each is very unique. For the plant, it's a single stranded RNA. For animal, either it's a single stranded RNA or single strand double stranded RNA or double stranded DNA. And in majority of the bacterial viruses, it's a double stranded DNA. Now, plant viruses, animal viruses, and the bacterial viruses, they have their own genetic materials. Okay. Now, the protein coat is called as the capsid. Okay. The rest protein coat, you can observe here, all green part, it's a protein coat, and it is called capsid. Okay. Made up of the small subunits called as capsomeres that protect the nucleic acid. Okay. These are the smaller units of the capsid you can observe in this tobacco mosaic virus. And these capsids, these subunits of the capsid are called as the capsomeres. Okay, these capsomeres functions by protecting the nucleic acid inside. Okay, so here we have understood what is the basic difference between the genetic materials of the plant viruses, animal viruses, and the bacterial viruses. Okay, now let's consider the next point. Now see, we have talked about the capsomeres. Now these individual unit you are observing in the tobacco mosaic viruses, these are called as capsomeres, and these caspomere together constitute the capsid. Okay, this whole structure is called as the capsid. This is nothing but the protein coat, and this protein coat is made up of the individual subunits, or in individual subunits को बोला जाता है capsomeres, are arranged in the helical or the polyhedral geometric form. Okay, see the arrangement, how they are arranged. They are generally arranged in the helical form or polyhedral geometric form. You can see here, you just it looks like a 3D diagram, right? It looks like a 3D diagram, and that is why we say that they are arranged in a helical form or the polyhedral form. Now, the viruses cause the diseases. It's a general point. Okay, uh, it can cause the mumps, smallpox, herpes, influenza. AIDS in the human virus is also caused by the HIV virus, right? So viruses are responsible for causing the various diseases, not only in the plants, but also in the animals, but also in the bacteria. So these capsomeres are generally helical and polyhedral in shape, while the viruses are very famous for causing the various kinds of diseases in the humans as well as in the plants and bacteria. Now, in the plants, the symptoms can be the mosaic formation. Okay, if there is a viral infection, what are the symptoms? There is a mosaic formation, there is a rolling of leaf. Okay, Okay, if you observe carefully your surrounding plants, you can clearly observe there is always some type of rolling in the leaf. This is also a viral infection. Then curling of the leaves, then yellowing and vein clearing. What happens in this? The yellowing of the leaves occur, and there is a loss of chlorophyll from the veins, and that is why these veins looks like empty vessels. Now dwarfing and the stunted growth. Those diseases which are caused by the viruses in the plants shows these kinds of the symptoms. These are general symptoms which are found in the plants. Okay, symptoms differ from one type of viral disease in plant to the other type of viral disease in plant. Okay, we are going to study the plant diseases in very detail in the plant pathology. There are some basic structure all viruses possess. Okay, now when we talk about the bacterial viruses, then plant viruses, then animal viruses, there are different kinds of viruses, right? But all these kinds of viruses, all these different kinds of viruses has the same basic structure, that is a core nucleic acid which is surrounded by the protein. This is the characteristic of every virus. Now if you understand the viruses, अगर आप viruses को carefully देखोगे तो जब भी हम वायरस की बात करते हैं तो हम क्या कहते हैं कि वहां पे एक न्यूक्लिक एसिड है. ठीक है, क्या है वहां पे एक न्यूक्लिक एसिड है. और न्यूक्लिक एसिड क्या हो सकता है? आइदर डीएनए हो सकता है या फिर वो आरएनए भी हो सकता है. दो में से कोई भी हो सकता है. और उसके बाद क्या है? प्रोटीन है. बस यही स्ट्रक्चर है किसी भी वायरस का. आइदर इट्स अ प्लांट वायरस, एनिमल वायरस और बैक्टीरियल वायरस. They have the nucleic acid in the core, in the center, and they have surrounding the protein. Surrounding protein structure is there. It is collectively called capsid, and in the center they have the genetic material. Either it's a DNA or RNA. So some basic structure of all the viruses is same. Okay. Now individual viruses contain only the single type of nucleic acid, either DNA or RNA. This we have discussed. Any individual virus either contain DNA as a genetic material, or it may contain the RNA as a genetic material, but not the both. Okay, दोनों कभी एक साथ नहीं होंगे. Either there is a DNA virus or there is a RNA virus, but DNA and RNA, both the nucleic acid are present in the same virus. This never happens. Okay, so you can observe in this particular picture here, you can see the bacteriophage. Bacteriophage is nothing but those viruses which cause diseases in the bacteria, right? So you can observe here double-stranded DNA, right? And double-stranded DNA is present inside, and after that outside we have the protein coat, right? Now second diagram, it's a tobacco mosaic virus, that is TMV virus. In the TMV virus, here in the center we find the RNA as a genetic material, and after that here we have the protein coat, that is the capsid. Here in the third diagram you can observe the HIV virus, that is human immunodeficiency virus, which cause the AIDS. In the center we have the RNA, and outside we have the capsid. Okay, so whether it's a bacterial virus in the first diagram, then plant virus in the second diagram, and the animal virus in the third diagram, one thing is common, that they possess some kind of genetic material, either it's a DNA or RNA, and then they possess the nucleic acid, then they possess the proteins outside, which is called as the capsid. Now see, the DNA or RNA genomes may be linear or circular, and single-stranded or double-stranded. That is RNA genome. Whatever the genetic material is present, there is either circular or it may be linear. You can observe in this human immunodeficiency virus, it's a linear genetic material, and here in the tobacco mosaic virus, you can find it is a circular genetic material. So DNA and RNA as a genetic material can be linear and the circular. Okay, linear भी हो सकता है, circular भी हो सकता है. Either it's a linear or it may be circular. It may be single-stranded or the double-stranded. Okay, it depends on the virus. Just we have seen the differentiating point between the bacterial virus, plant virus, and the animal viruses. Now viruses are frequently classified by the nature of their genome. Just we have classified earlier bacterial viruses, plant viruses, and the animal viruses. Why? Because their genome differs. Okay, and the RNA-based viruses are generally known as the retroviruses. Okay, retroviruses, this term is generally used for the viruses which has the RNA as a genetic material. Now, in some viruses, the specialized enzymes are stored within the capsid. You should highlight this point. Now, because in general, when the students studied about the viruses, there is a general perception that there is a genetic material, DNA or RNA, and the protein code. But with that, some viruses, okay, what is written down here is some viruses. Okay, there are some viruses which are specialized in the which has a specialized enzyme stored in their capsid. That means this capsid portion contains some sort of enzymes as well. Okay, enzymes are also present in these capsids, and many animal viruses form an envelope around the capsid, rich in proteins, lipids, and glycoproteins molecules. Now consider this. Generally, when we talk about the virus structure, there is a either DNA or RNA, and plus they has the protein. This is the overall structure. But some viruses also contain the enzymes. And some viruses, what they do, there is a capsid inside. Now observe this HIV virus. This is the genetic material, right? Linear. And here we have the capsid, right? So this is the virus. But what is outside? What is this structure? This is the extra structure developed by the viruses. This extra structure, which is developed by these HIV viruses, is made up of the proteins, lipids, and the glycoproteins as well. While some of the material of the envelope is derived from the host cell. Now observe this point carefully. Host cell membrane and the envelope does contain the protein derived from the viral genes as well. Now see, this HIV virus, we talk about its envelope, that it contains the extra material such as the proteins, lipids, and glycoproteins. Now this protein, lipids, and glycoproteins all are not created by himself. This virus does not create all these. Some of these proteins, lipids, and glycoproteins are coming from the host cell's membrane. That is, the host cell's membrane proteins, lipids, and glycoproteins is used by the viruses to create this envelope. And some of the proteins and lipids and glycoproteins of this envelope are also created by the viral genes. Now see, viruses occur virtually in every kind of organism that has been investigated for their presence. Now see, whatever we have investigated till today, for every living organism we have find out the viruses. Now you can say that they are omnipresent. Okay, they are present everywhere. They are omnipresent. That means they are present everywhere, and they can cause diseases in literally every kind of organism we have investigated so far. Now, however, each type of the viruses can replicate only in a very limited number of cell types. See, this makes the viruses very special. Now, it can replicate only in very limited number of type of cells. That is, in which type of cell it got replicated are very limited. They require the special types of cells to get replicated. Now the suitable cells for the particular viruses are collectively referred to as the host range. देखिए, कोई भी अगर वायरस है, वो वायरस कौन से सेल्स के टाइप्स में रेप्लिकेट हो सकता है, वो जितने भी सेल्स के टाइप होंगे वहां पे 1 2 3 4 5 इतने टाइप के सेल्स में अगर वो रेप्लिकेट हो पाता है, तो इस टाइप के सेल्स को बोला जाता है उसकी होस्ट रेंज, कि कहां तक वो कितने लिविंग ऑर्गेनिज्म को इन्फेक्ट कर सकता है, उसकी रेंज क्या है. सो host range is nothing but the type of cells in which the virus can replicate. See, for example, if immunodeficiency virus can replicate in the humans, okay, then if we come to know that it can replicate in the other two organisms as well. So one is a human and other two organisms, three organisms is the host range for the human immunodeficiency virus, that is HIV virus. If the tobacco mosaic virus is found in the other plants, causing the different disease, then the host cells, then the tobacco mosaic virus host is increased, right? तो host range जो host range होता है वहाँ पे host range differ कर सकता है virus to virus, because one virus can replicate into the one type of cell and other virus can be replicated into the 4 or 5 types of cells. Okay, it depends on all the characteristics of the viruses. So host range is very important here to note. Okay, now observe the next point. Now, most viruses have the overall structure that is either helical or isometric. Okay, yeah, just we are talk about the shape of the viruses. It's a helical, either it's a helical or the isometric. They have two types of forms. Okay, overall viruses has the structure which are either helical or the isometric. वो helical भी हो सकते हैं, isometric भी हो सकते हैं. Now, the helical viruses such as the tobacco mosaic viruses are the helical viruses. Okay, please remember that, because tobacco mosaic virus or the TMV virus is most of the time is asked by the UPSC mains examination, right? Now, see, this tobacco mosaic virus possesses the helical structure. Okay, these are called as the helical viruses. Now, have the rod-like or thread-like appearance. It may be have rod-like appearance or thread-like. See, here you can observe this looks like a rod. Okay, that is why we call it as a rod-like or thread-like appearance in the tobacco mosaic virus. Now, isometric viruses are generally have a roughly spherical shape. Now, you can observe in this isometric virus, it has a spherical shape. So, generally, if we talk about the shape of the viruses can be the helical. Okay, it can be helical or it may be isometric. Okay, generally, helical viruses have the rod-like structure, and the isometric viruses have the spherical shape here. And this rod-like, the example for the helical viruses and rod-like shape is the TMV virus. And for the isometric type or the spherical type of viruses is the HIV virus. Okay. And now see, the only structural pattern found so far among the isometric viruses is icosahedron. Okay, ये word important है, you should highlight it. It's called icosahedron. So it's a structural pattern which is found in the isometric viruses. Whatever the isometric viruses are there, I have told you the isometric viruses are those viruses which has the spherical shape. Okay, isometric viruses has which shape? It has a spherical shape, and the pattern in their structure found is the icosahedron. Okay, icosahedron type of the pattern is found in these viruses. See, a structure with a 20 equilateral triangular facets. What is the icosahedron type of structure? It has a 20 equilateral triangular facets. 20 facets are there, triangular facets, like adenoviruses. Okay, you can observe in this particular picture, you will find an adenovirus. See, this type of adenovirus is a respiratory virus. This virus has the 20 facets of the 20 triangular facets. That is why it acquires certain unique kind of the pattern, and this pattern is called as the icosahedron. Okay, so you should remember the icosahedron type of the pattern is found in the आइसोमेट्रिक वायरसेस. ओके, ये आइसोमेट्रिक वायरसेस में पाया जाता है. और ये जो icosahedron टाइप ऑफ जो स्ट्रक्चर का पैटर्न का हम बात करते हैं, इसका मीनिंग ये होता है कि वहां पे 20 फेसेट्स है, ट्रायंगुलर फेसेट्स है, जो एडिनो वायरसेस में हमें देखने को मिलते हैं. ओके, तो इस प्रकार का शेप जो होता है उसको बोला जाता है icosahedron.